from Howard University. He has written and edited more than 17 books of poetry, essays, and children's literature. His books for young readers, The Shawn Days, Love to Langston, and I, Bob Marley, have received Parents Guide Children's Media Award, the Patterson Prize for Books for Young People, and the Rhode Island Children's Book Award. His most recent book for young readers is The President Looks Like Me and Other Poems. So, would you give a rousing welcome to the other Medina, Tony Medina.
Look at those shoes. Wow, it's good to be here. Let's give a round of applause for Joanne. Is your nephew still here? Your nephew's the little kid? Oh, good, thank God. Because just in case, I say something inappropriate. It's good to be here. I'm a little nervous right now because one of my idols is right here. This is Nikki Giovanni, everybody. Let's give a round of applause. The literary critic and scholar, Virginia Fowler. I'd like to start off with this piece that I was going to read just in case. A couple of weeks ago we celebrated Joanne's birthday. I think she was turning on 48. And I didn't know we had to bring a poem to read or whatever. I was just like, so I was like, just in case I have to read something, I'm gonna have this poem. So I picked this poem for her because it reminds me of her and her husband, Gavin. Because they've been together so long, so they're like this power couple. And because it, I don't know, it reminds me of the South, it reminds me of Virginia. It's called This Is a Night for the Smiling Silence of Stars. This is a night for the smiling silence of stars, lightning bugs flickering in mason jars, streetlight dancing on the brown, yellow, orange tongue of November leaves, batting like lashes in an Indian summer breeze. This is a night for the guiding light of pole stars and cars that hum through the arteries of the street below a blue canopy lit with mason jars. A galaxy so vast yet discreet hangs like sheets in wind soft as gauze. This is a night to occupy the palm of a hand, its double resting on the small of a back, waltzing through the silent prayer of breathing. And it wouldn't be appropriate if I didn't follow it up with this poem, since tonight is one of those debates that's going on. I am seeking a certificate of live birth for Donald Trump's hair. A red rooster sloshed and flopped over a sloped forehead, scrunched face. A dead possum playing possum, propped up roadkill on the windshield of his strained face. I am checking for its authenticity. Does it exist in the same time zone as his head, which functions as a hollow silo for his receding brain? I am seeking the purity of each strand of hair in pain. Waxed, dyed, fried, wrung like a wet mop and hung and slung every which way devil may care, hair. It may be a distraction, it may espouse brash reactions from the pie hole of his smug, fat fish face. Blowhard words caught in the gullet of a mouth never on pause, whose fabrications and aspersions are claws stuck in the bottom of a barrel full of Dixieland flags, waving desperately in the wind of defeat, like charred ash flakes from a bombed-out lung. But I am also seeking the legitimacy of the hair on his tongue. These three poems are, I guess, inspired from what Joanne was just talking about in terms of Black Lives Matter. Senrayu for Trayvon Martin. Skittles bag, pockmarked holy bleeds in rain puddle. Hoodie hides no blood. Tears or eyes shut by wet grass. Screams pierce night sky. A father's stomach pits. My boy, my boy. Shot through sky. Skittles like Roman candle burst. Blood from open chest. Stars squint and stare, raindrops glare in moonlight, witnessing bloodletting. Morning grass like wet face of boy, screaming bloody murder. Gunpowder blinds the eye of justice, reckless as a dumb vigilante. Silence of blood clouds night drizzle where wind whistles through hole in can. Empty bag of Skittles, crushed can of iced tea, last game with father. Rain chews night air, gnaws at brown boy flesh, grinning teeth of bullets. Rain stains brown boy's back as blood pours from chest, turning the green grass red. How blues is born. Rain falls steady on dead-end streets strewn with black body. Mama's cries hang on rain hooks ornamenting night wind's grin. Blood petals pock grim face of grass like lotus on rain slick back of black boy. Not enough lifetimes to take back powder burn cries to piece my boy back. You know, when the Ferguson uprising took place, and everything was going, haywire over there, just days later, in St. Louis, this gentleman who's obviously having some type of a breakdown was gunned down, like in a matter of seconds, just like Tamir Rice. When Joanne mentioned Tamir Rice, that just took like 2 seconds. Like they didn't even, it was almost like they were getting out of the car shooting, right? So this is what happened to this brother. His name is Kajem Powell. He took 2 energy drinks and some donuts from a corner store, placed them along the curb, waiting for the cops to come. He paced back and forth, anger and frustration stalking his undaunted thoughts. He wasn't going to take it anymore. The cops climbed the curb with their patrol car, drawing their semi-automatic guns, right hand in his jacket pocket, clutching a steak knife. He ordered them to kill me, kill me, kill me now. They lit him up with 9 rounds till blood and smoke seeped from his flesh. They rolled him over like a log, his body's pockmarked skin pouting like lips. It took all 23 seconds for his 25 years to leak out his bleeding lungs. When the coroner got him, he asked the officers to take the handcuffs off. from the crushed voice box of Freddie Gray. Let's give a round of applause to Howard University. From the crushed voice box of Freddie Gray. I am the magic Negro, the black Houdini who done it to himself. I handcuffed my own damn self. I threw myself in the back of the patrol car, my hands shackled behind my back, slave ship cargo ago. I am the magic Negro, the black Houdini who done it, does it to himself, him black self. See ma, no hands. I snatched the pistol from the white man's mind, from the back of the patrol car. Suck on this, Houdini. I grabbed the gun and shoot myself in the chest, neo-colonial style. The autopsy report says, damn, would have been easier to walk on water. I bet you a quarter he done shot himself. I am the magic Negro, spineless. I broke my own spine after hog-tying myself into a pretzel. Even Houdini, who done it, would envy. Only to turn myself into a human pinball, rattling around the steel gullet of a Negro pickup truck once reserved for newly arrived potato-famine New York Irish drunks down on their luck. Me, moi, it is I who was a fellow. Oh hell no, yes, me, the magic Negro, the black Houdini, who done it, does it all the time, to himself, his own damned self. Howard is here today. All right, this was a poem that I wrote. I was teaching a class, and I usually have everybody sit in a circle. And there was a student, she was sitting 12 o'clock to my 6 o'clock. And she had like a scowl on her face. And I'm not sure if she was upset or not, or whatever, but I was like, damn, you're too young to have a scowl. And that idea, the scowl idea, inspired this poem. I think I wrote it right after class. It's called Blue Scowl, Obad. And Obad is an unrequited, a poem of unrequited love. She wore a scowl on her face like foundation and mascara, smearing into ruby red lips the color of Dorothy slippers, gone to take her home with a click. Only her lips repelled ghosts with their bent, twisted handlebar mustache frown like a clown down on his luck. Buried beneath bills and faded thrills, beneath pink slips and slip banana peel backflips and Vicodin and gin. Not the proper tonic, but a buzz that'll do to beat back the flies with dry, harsh, howling breath. Even the wind despised, disguised in grief, in a blue so old and familiar, she walked the streets in. Cold stairs swirling from lamp posts and pavements, speckled with dirty gum and broke glass shards, twinkly-eyed as if the cement drank rum. She found it hard to get high, the numb feeling receding like a ship from her foolish shore. Loved and gone and split, then packed its bags like a guitar in the hands of a blues man, rolling out of town on a midnight freight, hauling off like a bucket full of pain. Wrapped in Ziploc bags, all she ever had. Her life carted from corner to corner, rattling around on squeaky wheel heels. What she concealed in the coat someone left draped over her like a quilt or cape she could not escape. Beneath an uptown L as she slumbered restlessly on cardboard splayed out on concrete and coal. Her world reduced to oil stains and piss smells, some wino left trying to drown out an Aunt's Dawn song. Clumps of newsprint, torn out black and white photos, The yellow pages of outdated copy stuffed her like a turkey to keep her warm and basting for the taking. The plucking of dirty pigeons that shat on her sleeping statue of flesh, torn out holes in pants and shoes, howling at indiscriminate rats, rolling like gangbangers who just don't give a fuck, gonna get what's theirs, manhood, like all the men in her life, taking what they could. Ooh. I'm trying to find this other one. I'm going to read this poem because my sister Meg Medina reminded me. Like this last poem, and this poem, it deals with, our women and how they get harassed and bullied or abused in a sense, right? And I remember one time reading about how Langston Hughes used to chide Amiri Baraka, who was named Leroy Jones at the time, when he was, part of the beat generation movement and stuff like that. And Langston used to say, blacks don't want to get beat. Black people want to be beat. What's this beat stuff? So this begins, it's about hip hop, and this begins with a quote that says, sometimes with the beats comes a beating. It's called Hip Hop Hurts Sometimes. She was caught by surprise. 2 words raised up against her like fists. The bling of brass knuckles disguised as gold teeth crashing down on her from the booming speakers in the trunk of an SUV. Hip hop hurts sometimes, these words said, riding on the back end of an unavoidable beat, like the backhand of a pimp, like the catcalls of old cats holding up the corner with 40s and blunts. All she wanted to do was go to the corner store and get some Pampers for her little sister, get some Wonder Bread and Now and Laters, get a Diet Pepsi and a 7-Up for her grandmother and aunt. But these words made it hard for her. They knocked her upside her head like her stepfather trying to snatch her innocence, like her jealous boyfriend trying to control her life. Wasn't the usual, yo shorty, let me get those digits, I'm a producer. Or the slow crawl of cars creeping along the curb trying to get her attention. But something heavy with a boxer's bass, something hard and smacking like a Barry Bonds blast, knocked her upside her head so hard, her ego shrank, her self-esteem cowered in the corner of her mind, made her dizzy, made her confused. She was disoriented and delirious, could hardly make it up the stairs. The ringing would not stop, reverberated like a breakdance beat breaking inside her head. She wondered if it was true. What she heard, what stuck to her like dog shit on the bottom of her shoe was true. At 13, what did she know? Was she actually a bitch and a hoe? Was that what her brother thought? Was that what her father thought? Is that what her uncles and cousins and all men think? Those 2 words made their way through the irresistible beat, made their way through the overwhelming heat of that hot summer street, climbed up out of the speakers, bum rushing her, catching her by surprise, lies darting about like a prize fighter's lightning fast gloves, snatching something from her. The flash and bling of brass knuckles giving her a shiner, a blue-black reminder, dubious stars twirling like flies just above her head. She felt nauseous, dropped her bags, clutching her flat stomach, bent over in the staircase, crying uncontrollably, tears huge and heavy and hot with hurt, each drop a branding iron stain of pain poured out of her like buckets of blood, as if she were pregnant with something dead. Time is running out for me to read this poem. It's, since this is a theme about mirrors and looking into a mirror and also reflecting what you truly think and feel, this was a letter that I received since I live in the DC area now, teaching at Howard University, by accident. And it was never supposed to get out. And this was around the time when Barack Obama was running for his second term. And if this letter would have got out to the public, we would have been, the Republicans would have took over and we would have been, Russian. Okay. So, this is the letter that I received. Barack Obama, age 50 at the time, the White House, Washington, D.C. Dear Santa, these Tea Party mofos are driving me crazy. I'm about to get black on those dumbass inbred hillbilly motherfuckers. Got my hair all gray, have me eating nasty, greasy-ass beef burgers and pork sandwiches. Soon, I'll be popping Viagra like Tic Tacs with high blood and sugar. They don't want anybody to get health care, not even their mama. You should see some of these motherfuckers' teefuses. You would think they was from England. In their mind, up is down and down is where they want to keep the black half of my ass. They lie about me constantly and see my tie as a noose they like to hook to the back of a pickup truck doing 90 from the White House. They don't want to ever acknowledge that half of me is wider than they dingy ass nasty drawers. They don't want to tax the rich, even though a lot of those tea-token sheep humpers are poor as rabbit shit. These hating mofos can't stand the fact that me and Michelle be wearing out that Lincoln bedroom. Make me want to grab my nuts at them savages and be like, oh, skeet, 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 skeet. Oh, skeet, 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 skeet. Laugh up like an asshole. Anyway, you know that line from Richard Pryor, where he's acting like a black preacher in The Exorcist, where Linda Blair plays a little girl possessed by the devil, and the black preacher signifying the devil is a pedophile, makes a call to heaven and says, Dear God, the devil's a low motherfucker. Can you exorcise his ass to Cleveland? Well, Santa, can you?
All right.
One more?
How about it, you all?
Sometimes you just feel the energy, right? Well, I'll just set this up slightly. I was born in the South Bronx. When I was born, I was abandoned in a hospital, Morrisania Hospital in the Bronx. I don't think it's there anymore. Because my mother was a heroin addict, and she was scared she was going to get in trouble because she was taking heroin when I was in her stomach. So I was born with heroin in my system, and the doctors didn't know what to do. So her last year, we were estranged from each other. We didn't see each other for like long stretches, like 11 years, 15-year intervals. And her last year, we were virtually strangers to one another. And I was writing this book that dealt with my family and upbringing and stuff like that. And my mother's story was not complete. She almost seemed like the heavy in the book, right? So it just so happened that she was very ill, and she had a terminal illness, and the place that she was staying in Florida, they were getting ready to put her out, and she had nowhere to go, and they called me up, and I said, they were going to put her in a facility, assisted facility all the way out there. I said, no, you send her to me. And then I learned more about her. This is that story. It's called Arrival. Steroids turned my mother's hair from black to white in less than a year. My mother's family would have loved that Would have loved for that to happen to the skin my sister inherited from her father, an anonymous black doctor donor from Baltimore my mother got with to feed her fix. My sister's voice and my mother's colliding in my head as I think about the July day I picked my mother up at Reagan National. She left her common law husband after 30 years. He'd leave her home, tied to an oxygen tank, and go off to Puerto Rico and take up with another woman who could cook and clean and cater to his needs. Everything my mother did for him, and work at Walmart and clean office buildings on the side, where she thinks she got pulmonary fibrosis inhaling chemicals for 20 years, scarring her lung tissue into dry sponges. He kept pushing her to sign away her half of their house. A broke-down, aging narcissist finally met his match. He must have forgotten that she was street smart and he, a compromise with her ego. How a woman settles for a man out of some survival instinct. I can't believe I allowed this man to keep me from my daughter for all these years, she tells me. You lost a lot of time, I say, trying to return my sister's favor and bring them back together. Curbside at US Airways arrivals terminal. My mother's in a wheelchair, looking tired and helpless. An airline oxygen tank strapped to the back of the wheelchair. She's in a white and blue flower print blouse and navy knit slacks and the white shoes of someone that lives on an island near water and sun. I hand her a yellow bouquet and a green oxygen tank to add to her Great Escape curbside wheelchair portraiture. Within a week, she is in the ICU at Bethesda General, holding the hand of a dying woman 20 years her senior, assuring her everything's going to be fine, just fine. Her life continuing to be a Fellini film, even as it rolls on to the credits and the word fini. Months later, I'm wheeling her around the mall, the rehab center's wheelchair, giving my 40-year-old back a first-time golfer's workout. The nurse on graveyard shift, who pumps her full of steroids and late-night diabetic snacks, says to me, she's gained a few pounds. I want to say, no shit. Instead, I say, yeah, and her hair is getting whiter. I'm taking her out on the town to get her hair cut and nails done, then a rare picture together, and then a late lunch, all the shrimp I'm allergic to she can eat. I'm toasting her girls' night out with a glass of red wine, and in the middle of our dinner, her oxygen tank runs out. I'm off to the parking lot trying not to panic. I come running back to the table with the second one, trying to figure out how to work the valve. Somehow, the gods have aligned themselves on this sunny September Saturday afternoon. I used to work at a hospital, the waiter says, teaching me the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey routine. My mother's breathing, never skipping a beat. In a couple of months, we will sit down and have our first Thanksgiving together, where she will tear up the duck, unlike an old woman with a bad heart, diabetes, kidney problems, bronchitis, and a third of her lung capacity. But she paces herself, and the burning logs in the fireplace light up her face. She finally tells me what happened the night she gave birth to me, how the doctor was without answers to why I was so sick, screaming uncontrollably from the womb of an incubator. I finally broke down and told him I was on drugs, she says. I was scared, but I had to tell him. I didn't want anything to happen to my beautiful baby boy. Relieved, the doctor turns and tells her, thank you, Miss Gonzalez. You just saved your son's life.